Loyalists of Simon Ekpa, a separatist leader recently arrested in Finland on terrorism-related charges, have vowed to continue the Monday sit-at-home protest in southeast Nigeria. Ngozi Orabueze, identifying as Chief of Staff of the self-declared Biafra Republic Government in Exile, reaffirmed the action as a voluntary agreement by all Biafrans and praised the Biafra Defence Forces for their resistance against Nigerian security forces. Orabueze also announced plans for a Biafra independence redeclaration in Finland on the 2nd of December, while accusing the Nigerian government of human rights violation.
Meanwhile, the Enugu State Government has offered to provide evidence of atrocities allegedly perpetrated in southeast Nigeria by the pro-Biafra agitator Simon Ekpa. The Secretary to the State Government, Chidebere Onya, said in a statement that the arrest was in line with the demands of Governor Peter Omba's led administration to Finnish authorities. And joining us is public affairs analyst and historian, Director General also of the Heritage Center, Abuja, Mr. Kach Ononuju. Good morning, and thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me today.
All right, pretty interesting development, and also interesting reaction from the Peter Omba government in Enugu State. I did share a story last week that I, was aware on the day that the group was proscribed in Enugu State. Nnamdi Kanu and others were meant to meet with the Enugu State government. He missed out on that meeting, and a couple of hours later, the news came that the group had been proscribed. So what are your reactions, first of all, to his arrest by the Finnish government, and then to, and of course, the Enugu State government's reaction as well?
Well, I would tell you, Enugu State government wouldn't go far because Simon Ekpa, for me, is seen as an agent of the Nigerian government. What he does is skit. There are up to 38 different Biafran organizations, and quite a lot of them, if not all of them, are just proxies for the Nigerian state. Simon Ekpa, all he does are skits. Those skits provide the alibi for which the Nigerian government sustains its occupation of eastern Nigeria. You can see Simon Ekpa, yes, is the one you see on social media, but the people on the ground, the checkpoints, Nigerian governments, the places you see, as I'm talking to you right now, they're having problem demobilizing the boys they put together under Pichi for the unknown government operations. They're not demobilized because the present government doesn't want to be part of it. This was a Buhari, Pichi, an arrangement, and they were not demobilized before Pichi was sacked. And this is a problem. So all these boys you call Ekpa and the rest of them that make noise and make skits, as pro-Biafra groups, they are simple vuvuzelas for the Buhari administration, for the Nigerian government, and nobody sees them doing any good for the Igbo. They make skits, the Nigerian government acts because they don't have the capability to stay on the ground to do on the unknown government sting operation. So they provide the enabling narratives for government local actions.
Mr. Onoju, are you saying, I mean, I need to understand what you're saying. Are you saying that the unknown gunmen, the violence in the southeast, those who have been enforcing the sit-at-home order, the violence that occurred in Anambra State about a week ago, where, a few people were murdered, are you saying all of this, is all seemingly orchestrated by the Nigerian government from the Buhari administration till now?
Primarily, the bulk of it, I have said severally since on television, is the Nigerian government. These boys like Ekpa and the rest of them, glittered all over the place, they are skit makers. What they do is they make skits pretending to be who they are not. They are not on the ground. They can perpetrate the violence. What Abacha told you is true. If the violence sustains for more than 72 hours, the government is involved in it. Until today, no prosecutions. It's a government that owns the people on the checkpoints. It's a government that owns the vicinity where you see these things occur. Today, as I'm talking to you, they have problem about demobilization because Bichi left his boys who was working with through Asari Dokubo Today, they are littered, they are not demobilized, and the current administration and government, and that's one thing I thank Tinubu for. Tinubu walked away from the unknown government sting operation. But you see, them not being demobilized and them just lying everywhere is a problem. So people like you see Ekpa, they are of no good to the Igbo. Neither are they good for whoever thinks is using them to propagate this kinds of skits. It is the Nigerian government that's on the ground. No one else. No one else.
Do you share the same? Do you share the same thoughts?
Violence with the Nigerian state.
Do you share the same thought process when Nnamdi Kanu is brought into the conversation? Because everyone can see that Ekpa, of course, continued the journey. He started the journey with his Radio Biafra that was started by Nnamdi Kanu. So do you also think that Nnamdi Kanu is playing a script written by the government?
Where did Nnamdi Kanu start from? After Wazirike was given a conditional release. Then Nnamdi came up. And then somewhere along the line, there were disagreements. Nnamdi came into the country to confront them. And since then, it's gone bad. Let me give you an instance. When the United States set up Bin Laden and co., it's always when they go over the top that they start fighting the same Americans. Israel at the time was funding Hamas, thinking it will have the capacity to break the Palestinian opposition. What happened? Hamas went over the top. Today, the pro-Biafran boys that Buhari used to stage his caterpillar dance, python dance, unknown government and all have gone off. And some of the boys are not being looked after. As I'm talking to you, some will just be taken out because most of them were harvested from the prisons. We had 13 different prison breaks under Buhari. And today, because that program was not demobilized, it was not properly winded up.
Because we're trying to get out as much information as we can, Mr. Catch, Mr. Ononuju, can we say we categorically have data, evidence to substantiate a number of these claims, or are we, just...
Yes. We have had data right from the day it started. I was in the East. I came to warn leaders about what I heard from London, about Buhari administration telling the English government to hold on and don't go on with the asylum program it wanted to give to those who oppose Buhari administration. That it will provide evidence. And that was how Buhari started on this cascade of actions to manufacture evidence to say Igbos were in terrorism. It's not true. Only the state could have staged those sting operations you called unknown government. Those were sting operations. Today, thanks to the Tinubu administration, they are over. But I don't think the combatants have been demobilized because Pichi was sacked and then everything just got overhang. But I thank the Tinubu administration for stopping the unknown government sting operation, or at least for funding it. And I want to urge governors like Uzodinma and co. Don't help anybody who comes to you. Don't listen to them. Let them go to Bichi and resolve. Since you never ever started this operation, you don't know anything about it, don't be involved in the demobilization. Tinubu should also let them rot. Let them go home. If not, the government should take them out. We need peace. We need peace in this country. The government and its laxity is responsible for insecurity across the country. Today, Tinubu is fighting the Fulani militiamen, and what's going on, you're still in the know. We've lost the chief of army staff. We need a chief of army staff that will be protected so that he can fight those who remove Nigerians from their ancestral lands and put foreigners on such lands.
Who will protect the chief of army staff?
To go stay in IDP camps.
Mr. Ononuju, who will protect the chief of army staff? Who will do the protecting?
Listen, he has to protect himself. He should understand that when he's brought in to work with a cartel, they were comfortable with Buhari. There are things he does that they may not be very happy with. He has to be careful. He has to be careful. You do not remove hegemony just like that through elections. No. Hegemonies have had their cartel members in place in different institutions of state. When you come in, you have to be careful so that they don't remove you.
All right, Catch
All
on
right.
Onuju, we have to go now. Thank you so much for your time with us this morning and for sharing your thoughts regarding this story.
Really interesting.
I
I hope that we can also extend the conversation. You know, if we had more time, we'd definitely would love to dig deeper.
No. The national
we're out of time, Mr. Onuju. Unfortunately,
we can't stop.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're out of time. So the producers will reach out to you so we can reschedule another date so we can have an extended conversation about this. But of course, very interesting perspective you brought in. I'm sure a lot of people will like your perspective on this. Thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you.